It's beginning to look a lot like
Merry Christmas.
Welcome to another video. Today we're talking about this Yamaha CR-640. I picked it up at a garage sale, but it didn't always look this good. Originally, when I first got it, we weren't getting any sound out of it. It has this protection relay that wasn't clicking, and ended up fixing that by doing some adjustments and some stuff I found online. I think I replaced the diode also. Also, it's very dirty on the inside. We found a lot of dust everywhere, and so we cleaned it up a little bit. And
Found a dead spider.
that's right, there was a dead spider in there. That's kind of... Anyway, there are a lot of proprietary Yamaha chips in
And then
there.
we cleaned it up.
We cleaned it up. Yeah, we cleaned it up. We got rid of the dead spider. One thing that...
trash.
Yeah, we threw away the dead spider. Got this compressed air, cleaned it up a little
Duster.
bit. Yeah. One thing that was interesting, there's a little thing, typically in these old tuners you turn a string. But these things over here, I don't know if this is a really good design or bad design, but you can see it's got these shafts here which extend the switch knob all the way to the back. The switches are actually in the back.
Like right there on the metal part.
Yeah.
There's a dead spider.
Yes, yeah. So we cleaned out the previous occupants, got this thing going. One thing we did was a light to LED upgrade. And so there's these 8 bulbs in there. They're 12 volts. As you can see here, only 2 of them are working. And they are in these little white sockets, so they're pretty easy to access. Oh, watch it. These are the ones that light up the tuning dial.
There's an old one, looks like that.
Yeah, and I'm replacing these bulbs with LEDs, so I have to pay attention to the polarity. Here I am just kind of like getting the bulb out of there. It's a little clear bulb with a green rubber boot on the top of it in that socket, so I'm going to stick an LED right in its place. A lot of people don't like this. The LEDs definitely have a different look than the original bulbs, but I got this receiver at a garage sale. It was a broken receiver at a garage sale for free, essentially, because there was some other equipment I bought with it and this receiver for $50. Ended up selling the other equipment for $50, so it was essentially free. So I didn't.
There's a white one.
Well, it's green. It glows green. So I couldn't, and the bottom pieces were thicker. I was trying to get those back into that hole, but I ended up just laying it flat on top there.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Anyway, but yeah, so, again, it might contain more of the original look with the bulbs, but there's the LEDs versus the bulb in the socket. And, of course, we've got to add a resistor to lower the voltage because those are 12-volt bulbs, and these LEDs only need like 3 volts, or maybe more about the current. I don't know. Anyway.
Dad, this is, look.
Yeah. We got to add that resistor. So here's the power for that whole top bar. Kind of just stuck a resistor on there and used some heat shrink tubing to... kind of protect all that exposed
Look
wire.
at those big purple things over there. They're
Yep.
like huge.
Oh, those are capacitors. Yeah.
The capacitors are
And those
huge.
black things up there are capacitors too, right up at the top. Anyway, so here we are about to power it up for the first time after replacing those bulbs, and boom, they work. Now they do look a little bit bright on this video. They have kind of a brighter glow. Maybe those like halo things aren't there in real life. And then now we're going to replace. There's 3 bulbs behind those 2 meters. And, of course, the one on the tuning little indicator there. Interestingly enough, these 8 bulbs are in several series circuits. So you got to really pay attention to the polarity. There's the schematic, and there's the other little...
Dad just printed it.
Yeah. So now I've got the 2 things behind the signal meter repaired, but I've still got to do the last series circuit. I'm sorry, they're in series circuit. The last series circuit. And this little metal thing, you have to be very careful not to clip that string, but that metal thing came out of the, kind of was clipped into the white thing, and the bulb was just laying in there. So I got that unwrapped, got that one replaced too. And the actual bar doesn't light up. Here, turn the knob for me there, buddy. See, the whole thing turns. Or the whole thing lights up, and the indicator is actually just a black line in that. So we did a good job there. It's all back together. And it works.
It's cool.
It sounds good. Can't really demonstrate the sound quality on YouTube. But anyway, let's compare it to...
For no reason.
Well, there is a reason. Let's just see how it looks. This is a stereo receiver. Let's compare it to a modern Yamaha.
In 2000s.
Yeah.
And
So-
this is why I like it, because there's good quality.
Well, good. That's good. Anyway, it has a lot more options, obviously. It has Pandora, Spotify, network-based stuff.
AirPlay.
So the feel of the old one is much better. It's much more solid construction there. Although the new one obviously has more features. The knobs, everything. It's a little bit smaller in size. It also has more power. And here's the back. The new one has binding posts on it. So now I can also control this new one with an app. If you remember the other video about the Pi Mote, I've actually figured out the API. I can control it with this Raspberry Pi deal, which we'll have to do another video about that. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's do a more reasonable comparison. It's not fair to compare a 1970s receiver to a modern receiver. So let's compare it to another 70s receiver I happen to have. So there on the right, we have the CR-640. On the left, we have the Sansui 7070. So the Sansui 7070 is just, I guess, sort of overlaps by a year. And was a little bit more expensive, but you can see it kind of has a more blue light, and the one on the right, the Yamaha, has green. The Sansui does have some more features that the Yamaha does not. It's got power meters. It's got 2 phono inputs. The Yamaha has a little less power. It does have 2 headphone jacks and a variable loudness control, which the Sansui does not. And both these tuners, FM radio is clearly a priority. And with all the choices we have today, you kind of forget about that. This Yamaha is very interesting. On a lot of receivers I've seen, on car stereos, I've seen that they have a local or distance button. This one actually detects local or distance mode, that IF, which I think is intermediate frequency mode. It's something to do with FM reception and filtering out, bleed over stations and making things more clear. But the Yamaha will actually detect whether it's in a station needs to be on local or distance mode and set it. And it has that blend button, which again is about reducing interference. And you can force it to local mode, which I suppose only picks out the stronger stations. And that's Tom Petty in the background. Interestingly, it just happened to be on, and it would be about the right era for this receiver and FM radio. And he was in the movie, I think. Anyway, so that was kind of a cool feature. And focus. Now here's the circuit board on the inside. Yamaha is very cleanly laid out. There's a physical separation between, you see the tuner board on the right and all the inputs, controls all on the right. The power amp is on the left, and the transformer power supply at the top. Everything is very, very clear. The only drawback to this design is it's got those proprietary Yamaha chips, the 2 kind of, one's leaning there in the center and then the power amps on the left. If this thing fails, those are kind of hard to replace. Now here's the Sansui, which is a lot more densely packed. Looks like it would be harder to work on, but it's got a more hefty looking capacitors and a transformer there. Another thing that's interesting about the Sansui, and it's not as obvious, is that the little kind of, don't make that noise, the little bars that go back. Look, this also has the same deal with the shaft that goes way back in the back. I'll see if I can. It's hard to film because it's buried under all that stuff. But if you see that silver bar there in the center, when I turn the input, that is also.
I can't see you. It's just our voice.
Well, here I'll point with this thing. So you see that shaft I'm trying to point with that air duster kind of deal. Here we are in the back of the house again. Not much to say. The Yamaha has an extra outlet. Yamaha's made in Taiwan. It has a extra.
Taiwan.
Yes, it has an extra outlet. The Sansui's made in Japan. It's definitely got a lot going on in the back panel too.
Well, if this thing is on Amazon, you can get it for somebody for Christmas.
I would say the Yamaha is clearly the winner in terms of user interface. I mean, it's simple. You turn the input to where you want to go. This thing, you have to hit the selector knob, and then you may have to hit a phono button, and the tape light overrides it. And then you got these lights at the top, which aren't in order, that you have to go look up here to see what input's selected. The Sansui does have these power meters, which is an advantage and kind of cool.
Just walk on by, wait on the corner.
Over the tuner. The knobs have a good click feel. The variable loudness control is kind of cool, whereas this guy does have a triple tone control, but no variable loudness. It's just got that button there. Again, the input, it's got the mic. So I'd say my gut feel is probably the Sansui is probably a little bit nicer receiver. This thing, though, is pretty cool, too. Sounds good. Not sure what I'm going to do with it. Maybe just add it to my collection. Maybe put it on eBay.
What in the world?
We'll see. Anyway.
That's all.
That's all, folks. I guess that's
Merry Christmas!
Yes, Merry Christmas, and...
what should you get your son?
What do you want for Christmas?
I want a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, on that note, we're going to have to go. Bye-bye.